Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible? Am I audible, students? Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, so we shall start. 18 students have joined, okay? So this documents I have already shared. I think you have got, right. I have shared with you in your this CR group. So I think CR have shared the PDFs with you. 4 PDFs I have given. Okay, for today's class also and like the previous classes also regarding your disposal of sewage. Okay, so you take it the notes from there. So let me share my screen. Okay, so up to last class we have done this numerical of your BOD sewage mixture we have done. So today we will be doing your disposal on land. Okay, so disposal by dilution method we have studied. Okay, so the next is your two processes were there. No, one is your disposal by dilution and the other one is your disposal on land. So what is disposal on land? By the name itself you can like assume it or you can know that it is the disposal of sewage on the land surface. Okay, so like when after the sewage effluent it is disposed of on the land. Okay, it is disposed of on the land. So what happens, the percolating water, okay, the water that is going through, it may either join the water table or one part it may be like it may be collected below by the system of under drains. Okay, one will it may join the water table or either it may be collected by a system of under drains. So then after that this method it can be used for your crop irrigating. Okay, irrigating crops. So now this method, okay, like in addition to disposing the sewage, okay, it may also help in increasing what, it help in increasing the crop yields. Okay, it help in increasing the crop yields because the sewage it contains a lot of fertilizing minerals and also elements. Okay, so now this sewage effluent before it is like used as an irrigating water or irrigation water, it must be made safe. Okay, for that your treatment process is done. Okay, now in order to lay down the limiting standards for your sewage effluents and the degree of treatment, how much treatment is required, it is very necessary, like it is necessary to study like what happens when the sewage is applied on the land as irrigation water. Okay, so we should know how much of the treatment is required to give. Okay, so like when this raw or like the raw sewage, okay, the raw or you can say it is partly treated sewage, it is applied on the land. So what happens in that case, if one half part of it evaporates, okay, like half part of it evaporates and the remaining part it percolates through the soil. Okay, like that soil, that proportion which percolates through the soil, it the suspended particles that are present in the sewage, those are caught in the or those remains in the they got stuck in the soil voids. Okay, so when it gets stuck in the soil voids, so if proper aeration of the voids it is maintained, okay, then the organic sewage, the organic sewage they caught in this voids, they get oxidized by what aerobic process, okay, in presence of oxygen. So such aeration and like this aerobic conditions, they will more likely they will prevail if when the soil it is sufficiently porous and they are permeable. Okay, like example you can give sands also and like loamy soil also. Okay, so now again if that is in case of your sands and loamy soils, but what happens if the soil is very heavy, sticky, like in case of clay or rock? Okay, so the void spaces in that case it will get like filled up or it will get choked up, and then it results in non aeration of the soil voids. So if the non-aeration of soil voids, it results in what? This will lead to the like developing of non-aerobic, non-aerobic decomposition of aerobic matter. So we have already learned that when in without in presence of oxygen, if something decomposition happens, so that leads to a very evolution of foul gas. Okay, and also like excessive clogging, it also might result in like ugly ponding of sewage over the farmland. And there what will happen, like the mosquitoes, and they will breed in large number, and that will this is a very unhygienic condition will develop. Okay, so again, like application of a very strong or a very load of heavy load of sewage if you apply in the land, so what will that result? It will result in the quick formation of also anaerobic conditions. Okay, so the greater you apply the load, the sewage load, the more likely the soil it will get clogged. Okay, and the sewage load it is reduced either by diluting it, okay, or by pre-treating it. Okay, then if it is done, like if it is diluted or it is pre-treated it, then it may be possible, like it might be possible to avoid the clogging of the soil pores. Okay, now again the degree of treatment, okay, the degree of treatment that will be required, it will depend upon the soil type. Obviously it will depend upon the type of the soil. Okay, then if the soil that is to be irrigated it is sandy and porous, then what will happen, the sewage effluents that may contain more solids and other waste, and it will require lesser treatment, okay, as compared to the case when the soil is very sticky and porous. Okay, now we will be, this is your like this is a doses, okay, this is a recommendation, you can say this is a recommendation for the doses for sewage farming in India. So for this is a table, it shows you like how much of dose in cubic meters per hectare per day, okay, for raw sewage and settled sewage, how much of doses is required for. So this is the table expressing that one. Okay, so now next is your like the effluent irrigation method for disposal of sewage. So it can be like adopted under some conditions. Okay, the effluent irrigation method, or you can say like the disposal method on land, it is adopted under some favorable conditions. So what are those conditions? So number one is your like when some natural rivers or water courses are not located in the vicinity, the land treatment is the only alternative left and has to be adopted. This is a genuine reason, because if you are going to dispose of something like sewage and there is no rivers or there is no water courses nearby, then the only option is to, hello, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay, the network is very bad here. Okay, sorry. From where I should start? From here? The current page I am showing from here, should I start? Number 1 point. Okay, I shall start from here. Okay, like the affluent irrigation or the this method, like the disposal on land. Okay, it is adopted under some conditions. Okay, so when you should do this disposal on land method. Okay, so what are the conditions? So number one condition is that when you have no water body or no natural river or water course nearby, so nearby where you want to dispose, so at that time, when since no option is left that you cannot dispose in any water course or any natural river, in that case this land treatment, it is the only alternative that is left and that has to be adopted. Okay, number two is like when irrigation water is very scarcely available and the use of sewage for irrigating crops is a good alternative, because like when like in a place where there is no water nearby and you need water for irrigating the water, irrigating the crops. Okay, like you have to irrigate the crops and there is no water available nearby, it is very scarcely, water is very scarcely available. So in that case also, like the sewage water, okay, after treatment, it is a good alternative for like using for irrigating the crops. Okay, then also like when the large areas of land, open land are available, broad irrigation may be practiced over it with the help of sewage affluence, and good returns can be earned by raising cash crops. So it is also said that when it has a very, you have a very large open land, okay, available, so you can do broad irrigation. Okay, by practicing, it can be practiced over with the help of sewage affluence, and in return you can get you if you raise a cash crop, so you can earn from that. So that is also a very good thing. So number four is your, like the method of effluent irrigation, it will prove useful in areas of low rainfall, and this will help in maintaining good absorption capacity of the soil. Okay, so it will also be like this irrigation, effluent irrigation method, it will prove useful in areas where there is very low rainfall, and it will help in maintaining good absorption capacity of the soil. Okay, number 5 is your, the area for land treatment or sewage farming, it should be preferably be porous. Okay, it should be porous. So wherever you are going to do the sewage farming or the like land treatment, so it should be porous, such as what, sandy soil, loamy soil, or alluvial soil, or you can say soft muram. So it should not be made of very retentive soils like clay. Okay, then which prevent easy aeration of soil voids and thus creating anaerobic conditions. So it is said that the soil voids, it should be porous. Okay, neither it should be very sticky. Okay, where the aeration, easy aeration of the soil voids cannot happen. Okay, the number 6 is your, like this method of disposal of sewage poses problems during the periods when no irrigation water is required for the crop, especially during rains. This method is therefore preferred when sewage can be diverted to some river streams. So it is also said here that like every time when, suppose in an area where the rain is happening, okay, it is not scarcely rain happens periodically. So in that kind of places, it causes a problem. Okay, it poses a problem because like it is preferred, this method is preferred when sewage it can be diverted also to some river streams when there is a very heavy rainy season. Okay, when it is a very heavy rainy season, so in that case that sewage it can be diverted to some river streams. And number 8 is what this method is preferred in areas of low water table where rate of percolation may be quite high. So also this method is preferred in areas where the water table is low and also where the rate of percolation it is very high. Okay. So this 7 points are your conditions for where you can adopt your effluent irrigation. Okay, the next is your difference between your effluent irrigation and sewage farming. Okay, there is a difference between your effluent irrigation and the other one is your sewage farming, though both these terms are synonyms to each other. Okay, these are synonyms to each other, but then also there is one basic difference between your effluent irrigation and sewage farming, and the difference is that in your affluent irrigation what happens, it only like it is the main consideration is the successful disposal of sewage. Okay, while in your sewage farming the main consideration is the successful growing of the crops. So one is the successful disposal of sewage and the other one is the chief consideration is the successful growing of crops. Okay, so this is the main basic difference. Okay, so now next is your okay. Next is your like methods of applying sewage effluents to farms. Okay. So the sewage effluents it can be used for irrigating the crops as we already discussed just now. Like it is used for and this sewage effluents it can be used for irrigating the farms also. Okay, it can be used for irrigating the farms also, like exactly the same way we have like irrigation of water is done for farming. Okay, the same process, but there are various techniques that are adopted for irrigating the crops. Okay, so what are those techniques? Number one is your surface irrigation. It is also known as your broad irrigation. And so in this method the sewage it is applied in like in many ways to the land. Okay, and depending upon the like mode of application, this method surface irrigation it can be of different types. So these are the different types. Number one is your free flooding, border flooding, check flooding, basin flooding, and furrow irrigation method. So all these things you are going to get in your irrigation. Okay, irrigation subject. When you will be having your irrigation subject, so these terms you will be aware of in that subject. Okay. So next is a subsurface irrigation and sprinkler or spray irrigation. Okay, this one I will not go through because this one is your irrigation subject topic, so you can study there. Okay, this subsurface sprinkler and all you study in your irrigation chapter. So next is your sewage sickness. So what is sewage sickness? You see. So like when the sewage it is applied continuously on a piece of land, so what happens? The soil pores, okay, or the voids, it get filled up and clogged with sewage solids retained in them. This is an obvious thing because if in anything, if you go on adding it continuously, so it will get filled up in one's time. Okay, in one time it will get filled up. Okay, so in the same way, so when you apply sewage continuously, you are going on applying sewage on a piece of land. So obviously the pores, the soil pores of that land or voids, it will get filled up and it will get clogged. okay, with the sewage solids in them. So the time that is taken for such a clogging, it will obviously depend upon the type of soil, okay, and the load that is present in the sewage. Okay, but when these voids are clogged once, so free circulation of air, it will be prevented. And what will happen when free circulation of air it will be prevented? Then anaerobic conditions will develop within the pores. Okay, so again, when anaerobic these aerobic conditions, when decomposition of aerobic decomposition of organic matter will stop, or anaerobic conditions will develop, so the organic matter, okay, it will be mineralized, okay, it will be mineralized. And but what happens, just now I told that when anaerobic conditions gets developed, so foul gases, evolution of foul gases will develop, okay, evolution of foul gases like how, what, hydrogen sulfide, carbon dioxide and methane, okay, so these gases will develop with a very strong foul smell. So this phenomenon of the soil pores getting clogged is known as your sewage sickness of land. Okay, so now in order to like prevent, so there are certain, no, every problem it has a solution. Okay, so what are the, not solution, but you can say the preventive measures. Okay, like there are some preventive measures that should be adopted to prevent the sewage sickness. So what are those preventive measures? Let us see. So number one is your primary treatment of sewage. Okay, so the sewage, it should be disposed of only after your primary treatment. Okay, so it should not be disposed of directly after giving the primary treatment, okay, like screening, grit removal and all. So after giving the primary treatment only, the sewage should be disposed of on the land. Okay, so that will help in removing the settleable solids, and also it will reduce the BOD load by 30%. And also the soil, because of that, the soil pores, it will not get clogged very quickly because the primary treatment is already done. Okay, number two is your choice of land. So the piece of land or the land that is used for sewage disposal, it should be like, normally it should be sandy or loamy. The clay soils, the clay lands, it should be avoided for your disposal of land. Okay, disposal of sewage on land. So next is your under drainage of soil. So what is under drainage of soil? That is the land on which you are thinking that you should dispose the sewage. It can be drained better. Okay, if a system of under drains like, oh, like pipes and all, okay, it is laid below, okay, to collect the effluent, and this will also minimize the possibilities of sewage sickness. So next is your number four is your giving rest to the land. So what is giving rest to the land? Like the land that is being used for the disposal of sewage, it should be given rest like periodically. Okay, by keeping some extra land as reserve and standby for diverting the sewage during the period the first land is at rest. So it is said that like you should keep one land, okay, piece of land in as extra, or you can say you can keep a piece of land as standby, so that during when you are like during the period the first land is at rest, okay, you can use the other land. So it you should give some rest periodically. Okay, moreover, during the rest period the land it should be thoroughly plowed. Okay, it should be plowed so that it gets broken up and aerated. So number five is a rotation of crops. Like sewage sickness, it can be reduced by planting different crops in rotation. Okay, instead of growing single type of a crop. Like if you are suppose you are growing a rice or wheat, okay, then you should not keep on growing that rice or wheat in all time. Okay, you should change the type of crop. Okay, so this will help in utilizing the fertilizing the elements of sewage, and also it will help in your aeration of soil. So next is your number 6 is your applying shallow depths. So the sewage, it should not be filled over the area in larger depths, but it should be applied in thin layers. Greater depth of sewage on land does not allow the soil to receive the sewage satisfactorily, and untimely results in clogging. So it is said that when you dispose the sewage on the land, it should not be filled over the area in larger depths, but you should apply the sewage in thin layers. That will help in what? The clogging. Okay, untimely clogging will not happen. So when you give greater depth of sewage on land, the soil also, it doesn't allow to receive the sewage satisfactorily. Okay, so these are the preventive measures for your sewage sickness. Okay, so this one is your the difference between your dilution method and the land disposal method for the disposal of sewage. So this one we have already done, but here it's written like in a different way. Okay, in a different way it is written like difference you study. Okay, it's written like that. Okay. So number 1 point is your for disposal by dilution, large volumes of natural clean water are required, whereas for land disposal, large areas of land, preferably with sandy soils, are required. This is a normal thing, okay? Because dilution, obviously, you will need like a natural water course, and for land, you will need a large land areas of land with sandy soils is required. Then number two is your the cost of the land in land disposal method is very generally very high, especially in cities and urban areas which are generally situated near rivers or oceans, and thus suggesting the choice of dilution method. Whereas in the rural areas where the amount of sewage produced is less, land being available at lesser cost, no easy water source being available, the land disposal method is a better choice. So this is also a obvious thing, like in your urban areas the cost of land is very much high, okay, as preferred to in rural areas. So also in your town areas, what happens, the amount of sewage produced is very high. Okay, and so here dilution method is they prefer, we can prefer that the dilution method is more good. But in case of in rural areas, what happens, the amount of sewage produced is very less. Can you hear me, students? Hello, can you hear me? Please mention in the chat box. Here in college the network is very bad, and this meeting it will end in 5 minutes. Are you able to hear me, everyone?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. I got interrupted in between because of the network. Okay, no problem. like this one, okay, this difference method, dilution method, and this land disposal method, you please do a self study. Okay, you please do a self study. This is not very tough. Okay, in easy languages it is written. Since we have already done these two methods, so this is only a difference part, so you can do a self study. Okay, this dilution method versus your land disposal method. Okay, so with this we have okay, we have completed our like second module. Okay, second module, nothing is left now, so we have completed the second module. So next class, I think third module is your pollution chapter. So pollution chapter, I think I have given you the provided you the PDF. So let's see on next class we will do the third module, or we will go to the fourth module. Okay, solid waste management we will do. So let's see. So this one I have already shared with you, this PDF, so you do a self study. Okay, okay, let me take your attendance. Okay, roll number 1.
Yes, ma'am.
Roll number 2, 3, 4.
Present, ma'am.
Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yes, ma'am.
9. Okay, 10,
Present, ma'am.
11, 12.
Yes, ma'am.
11. Okay, 12.
Present, ma'am.
Okay,
12
13.
present.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
13 present. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, 7 is also present. Okay, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18,
Yes, sir.
19. Okay, 19. Okay, 20, 20, 21, 22. Okay, roll number 11 I have given you present. Okay, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Okay, 23 is present. Okay, okay, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Nobody is present or what?
Present, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah, 21 is present now. Okay, 21, 22, 23 present. All three present na, 21, 22, 23.
Yes,
20.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, then 24, 25.
25 present, ma'am.
25, okay. 26 also present, Sanjam.
26 present, ma'am.
Okay, then 28, 28, 29, 30.
Present, ma'am. 30.
Okay, 31, 32. 31 is present. 32.
29.
Yes, 29. Okay, to okay. Okay, 32, 33, 34.